I wasn't also Mani Uyachi and Joe. Mani Yamana.
Every day, he has a drink filled with malt. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day, he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved. Every day, he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, gets back home, and helps his mom. Phew. That's why every day he needs his cup of Milo filled with the nutritious goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. Milo, the energy to go further.
From Nestle.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show. This is The Couch. My name is Pratt. Tonight, being a Friday, you know that is the personality profile edition of the show. So we've been talking since Tuesday. You know, we've had the lifestyle, we've had the book review, we've had a hard talk. Today we have the personality profile. The man in my studio needs absolutely no introduction. He doesn't. You know, there's only one general in Ghanaian politics. Just one general in, Ghanaian politics. It's the one I say I have with me in the studio, the general. Then I'm sure you know who exactly this general is. Let's just assume you don't know. Then I'm talking about the Mr. Asiedu Inketia, the one, the only. Tonight, the plan is to talk national issues as always. You know, when journalists in the house, it's politics, it's hardcore stuff. However, I've, sort of been privileged to get his permission to go a little personal, so just a little bit, so the little bit that we don't know, about him, his childhood, things that make him smile, the music that he likes to dance to, what he likes to eat, stuff like that. So please, perfect time to relax in your couch as we bring you The Couch from the studios of Pan African TV in a few minutes. Stay with us.
Whatever the occasion, with ATL, you can never be out of style. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
Welcome back. This is The Couch. Tonight, on the couch is the man, the General Asiedu Inketia. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you here again.
It's my pleasure.
You remember the first time?
No, that's not my first time I've been.
No, I mean, you remember the first time we
Yeah,
were here?
I did.
You've been here a couple of times.
Yeah.
But tonight is different.
Very well.
Right? Okay. Are you excited?
I play all type of formations, so whatever you bring up.
Whatever I bring, you're more than capable.
Yeah.
In the studio, just as we sat down, you know, you had some of the staff here, some of my colleagues come up to you and say to you that you inspire us, you know, right here, just this evening. Okay. How does that make you feel?
Well, I'm pleased to learn about that because life is about making the world a better place than you came to meet it and making people happier. So if maybe some people, by my inspiration, are happy, it means that I may leave the world a better place.
Is that your personal, you know, is that your personal mission? Is that your philosophy? Is that making people happy? Would that be?
That is the meaning of life.
Right.
Okay. So otherwise, we will remain as individuals like monkeys in the forest. So we decided to come together to build a society.
Right.
So every generation must leave the society better than they came to meet it, and prepare the ground for better life for the future generations. Okay. That's what life is about. So wherever I operate, I endeavor to ensure that I will impact some lives, be it my community where I come from, circle of friends, or my workplaces. So if I hear people testifying that I inspire, it makes me also happier. Happy.
And we are happy when General is happy. Everybody's happy when General is happy. Let's talk about your childhood for a bit. Tell me about that.
Maybe you would wish to ask my mother, because there are some aspects of my childhood that I cannot narrate. but I'm told that I was born in Sekwa, which was a village, but now a medium-sized township in Brong region. Now it used to be Brong Ahafo region. In Wenchi district, it used to be Wenchi district. Now the district has been split about 3 times over, so we are in Time.
The famous Time.
So that's where I grew up. Education was a little bit difficult because there was a paradox about my situation. My uncles were rich cocoa farmers, so everybody will expect that they will give me the best education. But somehow they felt that they would rather put more premium on me inheriting their cocoa farms. Right. So they thought that education will prevent me from so doing. So they were not enthused in, you know, helping me to proceed. And so in most cases I had to struggle doing odd jobs and so on. I was first arrested in the streets and then taken by the young pioneers because the Nkrumah had, you know, proclaimed and implemented free free compulsory universal basic education. And so it was in pursuit of the objectives of the F-Cube that the young pioneers, which were the youth wing of the CPP at that time, who were going around anytime school was in progress to find out whether there were any children left to be sent to school. So I was picked up, and then in the evening, you know, my relatives were reported to the authorities, and they came to warn them that I had to be taken to school or else they would go to jail. So that's how I went to school. And luckily, my performance was not bad from right from onset to the time I completed Form 4. It was almost either the first or among the 3 top.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
Hey, General, you're a shark.
So, but because of my stature, those days, if you are brilliant, they look at you and then promote you. So you could do the elementary education in less than 10 years. So anytime there was any such promotion exams, I'll come tops. But they will say, oh, he's still young, so let's keep him there. And then they'll promote a second, third, fourth over me. You know, otherwise I could have done the basic school education in some 7 years or so. Because I passed these rapid promotion exams more than 3 times, but they felt that in the practice where you put your hand across your head, you cannot touch your ear. You are not old enough to proceed. So but
So then how your hand couldn't touch your ear?
I was so small. And so from Form 2 thereabouts, I started finding ways of writing common entrance and passing. Those days, you pass, they will bring the scholarship letter to you even before you go. And when this was reported to my parents, I was given a terrible beating. They have to beat these scratching matters out of my mind so that I can.
You're supposed to be a rich farmer.
I can focus on becoming a farmer and inheriting the farms of my uncles. You know, so I missed the opportunity of attending secondary education. And I completed and Form 4, remained in the house doing odd jobs. My senior brother, you know, was a businessman, also doing several odd jobs. So there is practically nothing that I haven't gone through, including, you know, tying store wares behind a bicycle and be roaming in the villages and then selling, you know, using push truck to convey items like these Makola boys have been doing. I've done all that, shoe shines and all that. I've done all that, including power and tapping and all that. I've gone through all of them. So it was actually some of my teachers who kept pressurizing my relatives that, look, this guy, you should by all means help him to further his education. The interesting thing was that anybody who wanted to sponsor the award in secondary school or technical school, they would come to my uncles for a loan. Then they would pledge their farms. And we are deployed in the farms to be harvesting the cocoa, you know, and all that. And they will be using the loan in financing their award.
So, General, as a child, you thought you were going to become a farmer?
Well, I don't know whether I had any independent thinking at that time, because the rigor of parental discipline and other thing, you didn't have a choice. But I was, you know, sailing along the wind to determine where I'll end up. But when I was seen to be a very brilliant child, my teachers started encouraging me and started talking to my uncles, and so because of our matrilineal inheritance system, so I didn't spend so much time of my childhood with my father, because my mother was the only sister among about 6 siblings. So I have 5 uncles, each of them very rich, and they were competing as to who would take care of me to his farm and all that. You understand? And so I was just going on until my teachers insisted that no, there's something in this guy, because in those days you had about 7 or 8 primary schools in the Sekwa zone general area, but only 1 middle school, Presby middle school. So at P6, the head teacher of the middle school will organize something we call Ajakun's common entrance. It was Ajakun from Akwapim here. So we organize exams for all the P6 students in all the 6-7 schools, so that they will select the best 50 to proceed to Form 1. So somebody could be marking time in P6 for 3 years, 4 years, and so on. Fortunately, during our days when they conducted that exam, I came top in all the 8 schools. So, you know, that made the teachers take special interest in me, and they were pushing.
To go to school. You eventually did become a teacher, though.
Yeah, so in doing the odd jobs, I was using a push truck, and I was able to mobilize some money, and then used it on the advice of my Form 3 teacher to go and buy training college forms. I remember the amount of about 14 CDs, so the form was costing 9 CDs. You had to take pictures and all that.
Yeah.
Then I processed it.
Right.
And then when the time was due, I sneaked out to write the exams in Brekum Training College. And so my mates were teasing me that, oh, this teacher training entrance exams, some of our teachers had done it more than 10 times, they couldn't pass. They were growing older. Why do you think that you can pass?
Go and pass.
Yeah, some of our teachers were people teachers. So when we were going to write the exams, I went with 3 of my teachers. So we were 4 in number. When the results came, I passed with 1 of the teachers, and 2 of my teachers failed. And so that was what sent me to St. Joseph's Training College,
But you actually did work as a teacher for a while.
So that's what I'm saying. I didn't work as a pupil teacher,
right,
but I wrote the entrance exam, and that took me to training college.
Right.
And then after the training college, when I began working, I hadn't gotten married and so on.
Right.
So I bought O-level and A-level syllabus myself, and then bought recommended textbooks and studied in the house and wrote the ordinary level and advanced level GCE and passed and came to Legon. So I thought for
you used to beat
from elementary school to the whole of the elementary school. I was in Presby primary and Presby middle. Then the training college was a Catholic training college, so that was also so it's like
strict.
All my basic and secondary schools were and then training college were done in mission schools. And you can understand the discipline. Yes.
Yes. My dad tells horrid stories about days in
discipline,
yes,
respect for time, and all that. So, and so.
Do you meet some of your students from time to time?
Oh yeah.
In touch with any of them?
Some of my students are judges, accountants, and all that. And when I meet them, I become happy. Once a while, when they meet me, they can also remit me something, because our salary was supposed to be in heaven. I'm enjoying some of it on earth. Yeah.
General. Okay, then you went on to Legon, and there you did banking, finance, maths,
School of Administration.
School of Administration, of course. I never sort of.
That was where I met Professor Mills. Who was teaching us commercial law and company law and the other things. And
did you have a relationship with him at the time?
Yeah, very close, because he kept wondering why I did not choose to become a lawyer. Because in his class, I was topping the class, and anytime there were tutorials and other things, he could leave them for me to handle with the class. So they were calling me associate prof. So that's where I struck that close relationship with Professor Mills. Those days, nobody ever thought that Professor Mills will enter politics. Because all about him was sports. And his club was phobia. So when I come to class, we're talking about phobia and all that. So that's about Legon, and there were whole stories about after I left, there were, you know, I was taped for teaching assistant. Some commercial institutions came to hunt for talents and so on. I was always among the first 5 to be selected. It was revolution time, so we were denied the opportunity to join any multinational you know, organization and so on. So I ended up with Gihawk. I became that's a whole reason. Yeah, so we can continue some other time. So let's come back.
all of that. So full life. At what point did you meet the missus?
Oh, I met my wife. We became friends for a very long time, platonic friends, because she also attended a vocational school in Bechem, whilst I was a student at Bechem Training College. And we were men's training college, even though I was classified as a boy, and the masters kept asking me, why are you in the men's training college? So I was subjected to molestation all along. So I was saved by my head, because they were introducing modern mathematics at that time. You know, so that's another story. They were rushing all of us through final year, 3rd year, 2nd year, 1st year, rushing all of us through so that the final year people will write the final exams in the modern maths and so on and so on. So for 3rd year people will use only 2 years, and then 2nd year people will have 3 years, and then we will have 4 years. But the first term, they ran the whole school on the same syllabus, and we wrote the same exams. And so what saved me from the molestations was that, again, when the results was posted on the notice board, I was first.
Little boy.
So I thought the whole school. So first there was attempt to molest me further. They invited me to our seniors class and, you know, asked me to kneel down, hitting me left, right, center, because I disgraced our senior prefect and all the seniors. So why should a first year student disgrace all the seniors in the school and so on? So I remember there was one senior called Abalansa, who had been a people teacher for long before he could enter this thing. So he entered the T4 and saw me kneeling down with stones in my hand, and he said, "What are you doing here?" And they said, "Didn't you see the results of the exam? How can first years were called Mormons? How can this Mormon come to disgrace all of us like that? So he deserves punishment." Then he got up. He's called AJS Abalansa, somebody from the Upper East or so. He got up and said, "What do you think you are?" He told them in their face, "You are all fools." The thing they are teaching us, we are too old to understand. If you have somebody who will understand and help us pass, so that we can go, and then you are beating them. Then he said, "Get up small." He pushed me out and warned them that anybody who touches me, he will show the inside of his stomach.
You are very grateful, Abalansa.
You see, so that was, otherwise there was a time I had packed my things because of the intensity of the molestation. I had packed my things to the Bechem station to find a vehicle to come and leave the school, because everybody could molest me. But when this single incident happened, then they started respecting me. Within some 2-3 months, the seniors who were preparing for their final exams, they put together their own study groups, and they were now competing for my attendance so that I could help them in the mathematics, the new maths, and so on. So that was what saved me. Eventually, I was freed from any work in the school and so on. So that's it. That saved me. But as I said, maybe we'll find a full. We'll find a full time.
That explains a lot for me. Now I understand a lot of things.
You understand?
That puts a lot of things into perspective. There are some answers you give to some questions. Sometimes I'm just like, did you not know that question was going to be asked him before he went there, or did they just ask me on the spot of the moment?
Due to part of my training and maybe part of my natural talents, as it were. Right. So maybe as a compensation for my stature.
Are you worried about it?
No. I'm not worried about it. I'm very proud.
Like it when we call you a mosquito?
Yeah. But the mosquito has nothing to do with my stature.
No.
No. It has nothing to do with my stature. There's another story. It was
that story.
No. We spent too much time on. We spent too much time on this.
Okay, summarize for us.
The mosquito came because of how I could take on. You know, if I'm in an organization and I believe in something, I can take on the whole organization and succeed. Okay, so I took on the whole of Parliament somewhere in 2001.
2001.
Yes, right. When President Kufuor had come to power and we were doing ministerial vetting and all these things.
But you were on the appointments committee.
Very well, I've been on the appointment committee all these years. And there was a particular appointee, a nominee, who I considered unfit to be minister. And irrespective of what happened, I still felt that he could not be a minister in this country because there were records that he had been dismissed for stealing in his previous workplace. So I pursued it. First, I had some of my NDC colleagues supporting me, but as we went ahead, they started leaving me, abandoning that course one by one till I was left alone. But I pursued it, one against 199 MPs, and I won. And I was able to block that person from becoming a minister. And at some point, you know, I was always one step ahead of everybody, including the President Kufuor's government. You know, at some point, they put me to strict proof,
right,
thinking that I didn't have any documents. And then they sent people to go and destroy those files in that institution where the guy had worked. But knowing that I would be pursuing that agenda, I had gotten copies of all the files with me already. So they went back and destroyed everything, and I was able to produce those documents. So they likened me to a rebel, one person against 200.
That's a proper mosquito.
So, and you had General Mosquito at that time in Liberia as a rebel leader.
Right.
So they wanted to describe me as a rebel against the 199. So after I defeated them, I managed to force them. Later on, when they realized that I could not be defeated, then some of my colleagues came on board and then were able to ensure that that person actually resigned before we proceeded. And so that's how the MPP people felt that they must give me some title intended to humiliate me or tease me, and so they started calling me a rebel because I wasn't falling in line with the rest. And so, and the notorious rebel at that time in the West African sub-region was General Mosquito. So they started calling me General Mosquito. And then there was this newspaper called the Heritage. I don't know whether it is still on the newsstands. The first publication, they wanted some popular figure, you know, as a cover page to be able to launch it. So they came to take my picture and all that, and The next morning, when they launched the newspaper, I saw my picture in the front page, and they said the MP called General Mosquito, and that's all. That's all. Yeah, so I said that by my training as a teacher, if students give you nickname and you are fighting that nickname, they think they have succeeded, so I adopted it.
That's all.
Yes.
That's all.
So to shame them, I adopted it, and I don't care at all. So everybody, in fact, in Socialist International and many international circles, they still call me General Mosquito, even in Spain, everywhere. They call me General Mosquito. Everybody knows we are within the Socialist International. So I don't care about it.
You don't care?
No.
But
because it has really now turned into something people are seeking after. So there are several children across the country who have been named General Mosquito.
Right.
So that's it.
Of course. But that tells me that there's a lot of fire, General. There's always been, even in politics, like there's a lot of fire in you. Like you take a course.
And I stay on course no matter what happens.
Right. There has to be something in your person, your personality that drives that. What is it?
Oh, what I can tell you is that I have that drive because it's me. I can't explain my nature, but that is my nature. That's my nature. So, and I always start as an underdog, where people underestimate you, and I enjoy being underestimated. Then my work will vindicate me, you know.
I was telling you, sorry.
And so, even when I joined politics, there were the attempts to nominate me for deputy minister. It was done more than three.
Agriculture, right?
Yes, for three. First, it was about deputy minister, regional minister, and all that. Each time it went to the final stage, it was shut down. It was the fourth one.
The fourth nomination.
that was actually announced, because I was always seen as too independent-minded. So even when we were in Parliament, which was dominated by MPP, NDC, 189 MPs against 11 other MPs, making the 200. I still was taking positions against my government. So we had a group, and we came to be known as Devil's Advocates. We gave trouble to the likes of ministers like Kwame Hoyes, and they didn't find it easy with the Devil's Advocates at all. You know, so when I see something is right, I pursue it, unless I'm convinced that that is not the right course. When I see that something is wrong, and at times I will even suffer some consequences for standing against the wrong, I prefer to pursue it, suffer the consequences now, and become vindicated subsequently. So that's why some people now call me prophet and all this. There are many things that have happened in this country which I have spoken and warned about, which has come to pass.
Classic one, 3SHS, right here in the studio. I remember the two of us having an argument, you know, about it. And I was then playing your words, the Devil's Advocate, and saying that, I mean, come on, it's thieves and fabulous. And you said, wait and see.
So they will crash somewhere along the line, because if you call Rose by whatever name, it will still smell sweet. So you cannot implement policy that is not well planned and well grounded on your resources and other things. So I saw it coming when vigilantism emerged. I spoke about it. I kept saying that the approach, the MPP's approach as fighting vigilantism was wrong. It won't end anywhere. When the fight against Galamsey also started.
And that fight is ongoing.
Yes.
Talk about that.
I said that.
The president says we are burning the excavator.
They are insincere about the fight. The whole insincerity is what is drawing back the fight. You see, if you in any situation where you are not you are pursuing selective justice,
Right.
you can achieve the results you desire. Since when did the president realize that Galamsey was dangerous? They told us right from 2017 thereabout that this thing was not good. But we had warned them in 2015 when it was we felt it was on the rise. And I remember President Mahama on the occasion of commissioning the Chebi Water Project. I flew with him on that occasion, and then we saw all these Galamsey pits around Chebi. So in his speech, he mentioned that Chebi was becoming the Galamsey capital of Ghana. Then heaven broke loose. He was described in very unprintable terms. Some were calling that he had insulted Ochimai, he must apologize and all that. And the people who were insulting included President Akufo-Addo and his people. And he went to the Galamsey sites saying that the NDC people were going around campaigning that when he wins the election, he will ban Galamsey, and that there is no truth about that. He's actually coming to, I don't know, he's coming to, improve Galamsey. He's coming to make sure that Galamsey is expanded to give jobs to the boys. So I don't know whether you have the recording, but it was there.
Right.
He said it in Twi. NDC for say, "Memba me na me begu Galamsey. Na kure bi anim. Memba Galamsey adwuma no e be shemu kena. Ama mwabu anya adwuma ye."
Right.
So this was the promise he gave.
So this would be the video we are showing now.
Yeah.
Right.
So when he came, he didn't need to encourage people to go to do Galamsey, because that was one of his campaign promises, that he will come and expand opportunities for Galamsey.
Right.
So when he declared in the early 2017 or 2018 that he wants to fight Galamsey, it became a problem. So he couldn't do it by himself. He had to mobilize the press and civil society organizations that, look, these are harmful effects of Galamsey. Can you all help us to fight? The media at that time thought that he was genuine in that effort. So everybody went on board, preaching against it. Some media houses were taking cameras to Galamsey sites and so on and so forth. And then there was a temporary ban on small-scale mining and Galamsey and all that. Not knowing that after he had banned, suspended Galamsey, they were taking steps to sift out the operators and then classify them according to their political colors or ethnic colors or whatever, and then making sure that he gets the right people to be doing the Galamsey when the government was preaching that Galamsey was bad. So you want to hide that from us here in Accra, but the people on the ground, they know it, and they felt offended because it didn't constitute social justice, that we are the landowners the land belongs to us.
Right.
If there is pollution, we suffer the consequences. So if we say, let us stop, so that we get good water and so on, it is understandable. We have stopped. You have seized our equipment and others. But we won't take it when we are there unemployed. Then we see that the very equipment of ours you have seized, they have now been shared to party functionaries.
Right.
And under the guise of community mining or whatever, you have selected your party people and given them these same confiscated vehicles to go and pollute the waters. This time we will not be benefiting, but we will be suffering the consequences of the pollution in our communities. Right. So in the rural areas, this logic is so powerful. Because if that is the case, then we will also all go in. And it is trite knowledge that everybody in Ghana knew that as this Galamsey, they were making noise about the stopping of Galamsey. Galamsey was very, very active in Abuakwa area where the president comes from. And they were deemed to be above the law when other people were being attacked. You see? So that was what compromised the fight from the beginning.
Right.
When there were stories floating around about functionaries of the government owning Galamsey areas and operating themselves. The regional chairman of MPP in Bono, he has come openly on television mentioning names, including the name of the immediate past minister for lands, that he succeeded in driving people away and then reallocated all the Galamsey sites to many people, including himself. And this is coming from them.
Right.
So if that is what is happening, then it will be difficult to prevent other people. So people are no longer looking at the pollution. They are looking at the injustice of seizing our equipment and allowing the banks and others to be chasing us, and then you give our equipment pro bono to other people because for the simple reason that they belong to the right party. For them to go and conduct the same activity, polluting the same waters, and they go unpunished. And some of them come on television showing gold bars and claiming that they are the richest in terms of gold possession in the country. And these things were happening. And also, thanks to investigative journalists, stories were uncovered where the key people leading the Galamsey fight were exposed as people who rather were taking bribes and directing those bribe payers to places where they would not be attacked by the Galamstop group.
Sort of
and then
orchestrate.
Yes, and the press too had managed to unearth situations where government operatives had deployed their Galamsey activities in otherwise forest reserves, which were out of reach for anybody.
Right.
And some pressmen had gone there, they had come under attack, but they managed to bring some videos for us to see, and we all saw military uniforms and other things, and the people there were trying to call people in government that this group has come here. We have told them that it is untouchable area and so on.
You know, the president is saying that he's banning the excavators.
Mm-hmm.
He says so, you know, whether you think it's for us or it's for somebody, I'm banning all the excavators.
The emphasis is on all. It is not true that the president is banning all the excavators. That is the problem. He's selectively banning some excavators. belonging to people who have found themselves on the wrong side of whatever. So, didn't you hear MPP people coming to claim that the excavators supposedly belonging to their National Women Organizer that were burnt? They were not burnt because she was involved in Galamsey, but they were burnt because of some utterances she had made against the rules minister. And so I was on the program where I was asked that the women organizer was not engaged in Galamsey, because I was saying that, well, the cat is now out of the bag.
Right.
That since you launched this Galam Stop, your National Women Organizer was engaged in it, and you were lying to us that you were fighting Galamsey. So you have been exposed. I said, no, the National Women Organizer was engaged in legal mining. I said, so how come her equipment will be burnt and the footages will be shown to Ghanaians that the president is committed at fighting Galamsey, if after all the equipment was not being used for Galamsey? Then it means you have burned the equipment for some other reasons. So that is the problem. Because I drove through this Kumasi Accra road, and you see excavators parked in open spaces, in people's compounds, and so on, right under the nose of the president. Those are not being burnt. And where this woman organizers' equipment were attacked, there were other equipments there.
Right.
And they selected some and got them burnt.
Right.
They went back claiming that they couldn't identify all the equipment that belonged to her. So they went back and identified the remaining among the other equipment and burnt those ones and left the others. So if you are approaching a fight like that, nobody takes you serious.
Right.
So it is not about whether the people believe that water bodies or environment is being polluted, but it is about whether if the environment is being polluted by us who suffer the consequences and we all get the benefit, that's okay. But bringing people from elsewhere to come and pollute our water, they go away with the money and we stay here and suffer the consequences.
Right.
It's unjustifiable. So we will also do it.
Then
you
have a problem.
So there is insincerity
Right.
in that fight. It is not comprehensive enough. And again, I thought I heard the president touting his credentials that he was a man of rule of law.
Right.
Once he came, there was a mineral and mining law, which President Mahama has found not to be biting enough. So, I think 2016 or thereabout, President Mahama caused an amendment to make it more biting. Then you came, and while the Galamsey was happening, you also said that the law was not biting enough, so you are going to amend and tighten the law and tighten the punishment regime and so on. It has since been done. In that law, there is no mention of burning of excavators.
Well, he says go to court.
Then he knows what he has done in the courts.
He says if you don't agree,
I'm saying that, you know, why should the citizens be asked to go to court? I thought the president promised to protect the citizens. So if the president is now so
statement he made,
yes, and I'm saying that if he's so confident that he can commit illegality and say that whoever doesn't agree should go to court, then he has failed as a president.
Today he didn't say the famous quote.
Because I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Because it is an admission that he has weaponized the courts. So That is why he has the courage to say that. But I thought that for a president who has been a regional or whatever president of Ghana Bar Association, and on the occasion of cutting sword for a campus of the School of Law, that is where you go preaching impunity. He has lowered the bar. That's so bad. Because you see, the law prescribes punishment. So when he says that I'm not following the law, if you like, go to court. What is he saying? Is he saying that people who will be trained in that institution should come preaching to us that they won't follow law? They know the acts they are committing are not in this thing. It could have been done in a neater way, but because he's doing it in a selective manner, selectively vindictive manner. If he had to follow the law and make sure that the law treats everybody equally, which would have been more effective than what he's doing, he will not achieve the objectives he wants to achieve. But clearly the objectives are not to save our environment. The objectives are to get at his opponents one way or the other, even his internal opponent, because
his own.
Yes.
Right.
And you see, when you talk about this issue of going to court, the law is there clearly. If you go and pick the law, there are points talking about equipment that has been used to commit a crime.
Right.
I'm not a lawyer, but in law, the best description is tainted property. It does not exist only in mining laws. I've been a member of parliament. We have several legislations that deal with how to treat tainted property. The narcotic control laws and all that. There are provisions that when you catch a cocaine dealer, his or her properties must be confiscated to the state and handled in a certain manner. Is that what the president is doing? You understand? So what prevents him from following the law to confiscate these properties to the state? And then once they are confiscated to the state, they can be deployed on something else. Let me tell you, my sister, I've been in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Right.
I was in charge of crops. Do you know that the best lands for rice production in the country is not in the north? They are in the western and the valley bottoms in western region, Ashanti region, eastern region, and so on, where you have this heavy rainfall and so on. So if properly managed, you can plant minimum of 2 rice crops on the same farm in a year, at times 3 if you manage it well. In the north you do once. So it's much more profitable to grow rice, and this rice is the land suitable for growing rice almost always coincide with these flat plains and valley bottoms where they are doing this mining. What will, if we commit ourselves that let us confiscate this equipment and turn them, deploy them into land clearing, because the most difficult challenge in rice growing in these forest zones is that the river bottoms are occupied by raffia palms and other things that makes initial clearing very difficult and expensive. So if you have the equipment and you mobilize and do a project, self-sufficiency in rice production over 2-3 years, and you deploy all these things, this equipment, to do the clearing, which is most expensive to farmers.
Right.
Can't you deploy many of these youth into rice? And I tell you, it's very, very lucrative. Go and ask. I know of some MPs who are into rice production.
Oh, I know of some too.
Yes. Akando.
Absolutely.
Go and ask Akando. He will tell you that rice production is far more lucrative than even cocoa production. if you are able to do it. So these youth who don't have employment, if we put all these excavators together, prepare the lands very well, may be free of charge for them, because we are not buying the excavators, they have been confiscated by law, and prepare the land and deploy youth into rice production. Can't we be more than self-sufficient in rice production within a very short time? These are things that you should be thinking through. But this macho system of let's burn it, you burn the equipment, but you know that excavators don't walk to Galamsey sites. People carry them there. If you see a tortoise sitting on top of a fence, you think that the tortoise climbed to that place. It is human beings who put the tortoise there. So if you leave the perpetrators that after burning everybody is free, you haven't done anything. It could as well be that if the excavators you are burning now were among the earlier ones seized by Dr. Frimpong Boateng group,
right,
and distributed to your party apparatchiks,
right,
and they believe that they have taken sufficient gold, so now let's burn them and destroy the street. Those whose excavators you are burning, it doesn't affect them in any way.
You don't have any trust here, and you didn't have trust with the EC too.
Yeah.
Right? From the beginning. From the beginning.
Everything I have said about lack of trust in any institution, it has played out, and my position has been vindicated.
There are people who believe that you actually predicted that
everything that declare. Yes, the video is there. If it is there, they can put it. Right. I said that what we are doing today and the conduct of this G-Mensa, I will not be surprised that she will declare results today, tomorrow she will change it, the next day she will change it, and then we will be going on and on and on. And that was exactly that happened.
What happened? When
we were fighting, we were engaged in this dialogue against vigilantism.
Right.
Everything we told the Peace Council came to pass. When the Electoral Commission formed the Council of Eminent Persons and thought that they could replace IPAC with them, I warned the council people. Many people were saying that, oh, this is a good thing, this is a good thing. I said it's not a good thing. You don't know what they are up to. Because they are not regular politicians. So many of the issues they can't appreciate. And she wants to mess them up to endorse the wrong thing she's doing. So what we are going to have is that some controversy will arise, and as a nation we will be looking for eminent persons to lead a process of reconciliation, and we wouldn't find any, because the selection that has been made, she has put virtually people who constitute the conscience of the nation together to endorse her wrongdoing. Are we not there now?
We are here.
We are there.
And in fact,
so if you want
for carrying your own,
yes,
on the EC.
So if you
so I'm hurrying you up because of time.
I told you.
I need us to dance, so I want us to rush through the.
You see, so I told them about this thing. I told them about the way IPAC was being handled, and that the EC was up to something. Are we not there? We are there. You have Electoral Commission. IPAC came up as a means of developing consensus.
Right. Right. And we had a lot of hope in that.
It wasn't a forum that was meant to take decisions based on voting and all that. Otherwise, Parliament was the legal institution that should be handling those. But we wanted a forum outside Parliament that will help develop consensus around the rules, because it's in a power game and we're trying to avoid a one-party state, if you continue using parliament to develop those laws, and there is always some majority in parliament, the majority will have the tendency of tilting the laws in their favor because in parliament majority carried the vote. So we said that let's bring people, stakeholders around the table and discuss things by consensus and arrive at something. Now you have a situation where somebody comes up as Electoral Commission chairperson. In fact, the foundation, the reason why IPAC was brought up, because about 58% of the population at that time voted for NDC. And in parliament, you have all the about 189 MPs being on the side of this thing. But at that time, we felt that no, MPP garnered about 40% of the votes, and that we cannot be making laws without their input. So let us stop making these laws in parliament and get a forum that will bring them in so that we can tap their ideas, and then the laws that we develop will be comprehensive and everybody will respect the outcomes. That was why IPAC was brought. Now we are using IPAC to block some people who are major stakeholders from participation because of issues of principle we have raised. Look, in this past election, just that one on IPAC, in this past election, you know that when IPAC was established, there were only about 7 political parties.
Right. And
there are other parties that have been registered during Afro-Jan's time, during Charlotte Osei's time. Right. This government has, this EC has registered more political parties than any of the 3 ever did in this short period. Right. Now we have 29 political parties. 11 of them participated in the immediate past election. And out of the 11 that participated, you know, there is these 2 major parties that ended up producing MPs in parliament. All the other smaller political parties, when you put their votes together in the presidential, they garnered 166,900 and something, and one independent candidate garnered 9,700, bringing the total to 176,000 out of the about 14 million and over votes that were cast. NDC alone, even going by these faulty figures, garnered close to 6.3 million. So if you go and take the total of all the other political parties who are able to command less than 200,000 votes, which is even far less than rejected ballots. Rejected ballots in the election alone amounted to 315,000.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So you are saying that it doesn't matter to you at all when you are able to manage to call a review and you have a major stakeholder like NDC that is absent. You are okay when you get MPP in government and those who together garner less than 200,000 votes on board, and they go praising you for doing good work. And they are praising you for doing good work. In some elections, they themselves did not participate.
General, I don't even want you to stress yourself with these figures. There's only one question I have, General.
Let me end on this parliamentary. The other parties together. NDC fielded 275 candidates in all the constituencies. MPP fielded 275.
Right.
The other parties put together fielded 217. All the other parties put together. Some fielded 4, some fielded 5, right. Some fielded 10, and so on. So somebody who fielded 4 out of 200 and 1975. If you call that person to go and review the parliamentary elections, do you think you are doing the right thing?
Right.
And when you put that together, you have 217, still less than the candidates fielded by a major party that is being excluded in this exercise, and you think that it is okay for our democracy. If that is okay for our democracy, why wasn't it okay in 1994 when you were outside parliament by your own decision to boycott? If we didn't want to reach out to get consensus, why would we be doing that?
Just one question. Everything you are saying, I appreciate everything you are saying.
Yeah.
I believe that the grassroots of the NDC appreciates everything you are saying. But you see, here's what, and forgive me if I'm being a little too pushy myself.
No, I enjoy that.
Yes, let's go there. The issue for me now is, General, where is that fire? Because today's NDC grassroots feels a little let down by the leadership of the NDC. Where's the fire? If all of these injustices are going on, General, and you, General, with all this fire, it's almost as if, you know, we went into parliament, we gave the people a little hope, you know, with that wonderful performance, and then we sort of, what's happening?
You see,
where's the action?
I wonder here now, where's the action?
Where's the action,
at times, I get amused. When we were youth,
right,
who were undertaking the actions, and our leaders were restraining us.
right.
Now you have people who are saying that leadership made up of old men should go and be leading, doing the demonstrations to impress the youth that something is happening. I just don't understand. When we started as youth, there was student power. Where are the students now? They are all quiet. Our champions dictatorship was defeated by us students. You understand? So Akufu's was defeated. Even elected constitutional government were challenged by students. And these were students who were thinking about their investment in their common future.
Right.
So they were leading the fire. So it is now interesting for the young men now and women sitting somewhere and be posting things on WhatsApp that our leaders are not pushing the fire. When you start talking, they say it's not about press conferences. You are talking too much. If it is not about press conference,
we need action.
What is it about? The action, does it come from the old men or it comes from the youth? The action comes from the youth. What are the likes of people who were shot, Legon students who were shot because they were fighting against a dictatorship, where all the senior politicians could not move forward? The students came together and moved forward, and we all participated as students. What is happening?
I like your answer.
What is happening to student power?
Right.
What is happening? So they are expecting the senior people, old men, to now go and mobilize them that this future that is being messed up, which is your future, you need to do something about it.
So, General, we have your assurance that you will not be stopping the young people if they start going for action.
It will not.
You will not be one of those, you know, elders who would call people to order.
In those days, we were restraining them.
Right.
No, our elders were restraining us.
Right.
And when we found that the call by our elders was wrongly placed,
right,
at times we ignored them and achieve results. You see?
Right.
So now we don't have student power. We don't have street power. Student power, street power, and all these things, they are initiated and led by the youth. So, if we are talking that we are at the grassroots, we expect action from our leaders. We are expecting action from our youth.
Okay.
Because whatever concerns all must be decided by all. The future we are all struggling to build. We will build the future and live it. But the youth, you are coming to live in that future. So don't leave the building of your future in the hands of another person who may not participate in that future. You are going to be the beneficiaries.
Right. Good answer. I like it. I like it. But I also feel as though you are conceding that you are Olu. You see, we're having the little Olu conversation earlier. It's like you are conceding, General. Like now you are Olu.
Oh, but are you going? Am I going to fake my age? I'm not going to fake my age. At the point where we are now, the youth may be. We expect our youth to be wiser than this generation.
Right.
You know, and stand on our shoulders to achieve higher laurels. Otherwise, we would have failed. So everybody understands. My son is there, you see. I expect that my son will be a better person than myself. Right. So that his son will be better still. Right. So, but you cannot do that with without the experience of those of us who are considered old.
I like the fact
so we have to.
Right.
We have to provide some guidance and so on. The things I've been talking about, some history that have been narrating about how the state affairs have been handled and so on. They may be young at that time, they may not know this. Right. So as they pursue to improve the future for themselves, we give them the benefit of what has happened in the past, the things they shouldn't be repeating, and those things they should be repeating and improving.
I like the fact that you talked about your son, General. Let's talk about it. Let's go back to the family for a minute. What kind of a father are you?
Hello?
Briefly, then we come back. What kind of a father are you? I'm looking at you.
Disciplinarian. And but a Democrat as well. Never using force.
A democratic disciplinarian.
Yes, never using force on my children. I am a suggestive father.
You know, you're giving us a lot of terms today. Democratic disciplinarian, suggestive father. These are types of fathers that I never learned in school.
Disciplinarian meaning that when I see you doing the wrong thing,
right,
I'll tell you there's no way you can do this. And I'll tell you why.
Right.
I don't just force my will on you.
Wait, can we mic General's son, please? Me, I'm like you. I like evidence-based conversations. Please, let's find General's son. Let's find out from the horse's own mouth if what you are telling us is the truth.
On a few occasions, I told her, look, she was interested in rushing to buy his own private vehicle when he returned from Canada. He bought a vehicle and brought it to my house. I drove him away.
You drove him away with his car?
Yes. I said that, look, if you don't build, then you have to sleep in your car, not in my house. So he quickly went back and sold the car and started building.
Right. And
I said that if you have your own accommodation, that is your foundation.
Right.
Eventually, later in life, if you are in any form of trouble, even if you can't buy food, nobody will know it. You will be hiding in your house.
In your house.
If you can't buy shit, nobody will know it. You won't go out, you are in your house. But when you have your vehicle, your car, and you park it in a rented house and you cannot pay rent, they will drive you away with all your cars.
Right.
So he went quickly and sold the vehicle and built his own house.
Right.
Now that his business got destroyed under this political victimization, he's still surviving because at the end of the day he has a house to return to.
He can live in his house comfortably.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Welcome to the couch.
Thank you.
So great to see you.
Good to be here too.
Who do you look like?
Look like my dad.
You do?
A little heavier than you.
Yeah, let's.
Hello?
You're escaping me referring to you as Mosquito Junior or Junior Mosquito. Why? How does it feel having the only general in Ghanaian politics as your father? How is that like?
It's a privilege, in fact, to see your dad make it to that level in society. So sometimes it's like, he's always a motivation.
Right.
To see your dad always out there.
Right. And what type of father is he?
He's, he's not an authoritarian, right? So with every decision or every step you intend taking, he gives you an options.
Right.
He tell you like, this thing leads here, this thing leads there, and he encourages you to also think. And if you have a case against what he thinks, you can bring it up.
Right.
And most times when he feels you have a point, he accepts it. Other times when he feels you are going the wrong way or you have a different perspective of it, he will let you know with this particular action, this is where it will lead you to. Right. So you revert back to what he says. So.
Right. My kind of father. I like that. How many are you?
Because we're comrades. Me and Kwesi are comrades. So
your style is close.
Precisely.
How many are you?
We are 5.
5 of you. How many girls?
3 girls, 2 boys.
How is he like with the girls? Does he allow the boyfriends to come to the house? Does he?
Oh yeah. Actually,
and boys are.
but they are all married. They are all
married now. They are married now.
When they were not married, General would allow the boys to be coming into his house.
You see, one thing he didn't like was that when male friends come to visit my sisters and they stayed outside the house. With that, he didn't like it. He always wanted them to be in the house so that he knows who they were talking to. So he wasn't that, home he is different from how you see him out. He's actually a quiet person. He's a quiet person, but when he's outside, sometimes people think.
I know. I know. Politics? Any of you into politics?
Currently, myself and my cousin, we are learning from him and learning from other senior comrades as well. So.
These are big shoes to fill. Hey. No, I mean, these are heavy shoes. Do you feel pressured? Do you feel...
No, not at all. I don't feel pressured. Right. You see, I believe to each and what he is here to do. Right. You see, he might have achieved a lot, but it will be a failure if you are not able to exceed what he has been able to do. Because, when he started, he didn't get the platform we have now. So it's like he started from more or less a disadvantaged position, and now we are exposed to what he didn't know at our age. Right. So we feel it's not pressure; it's an opportunity to go beyond what he has done.
Better. Yes. You talk to daddy.
Right.
Talk to daddy. I know there are things that you would love to tell him. That opportunity hasn't just presented itself today. Free opportunity. Tell him. Tell him everything you want to tell him.
What I want to tell him is that he has made all of us proud, and he keeps making us proud, and we are happy he's still with us, and we are happy with all he's done for us. Growing up, you don't always see him or have enough time with him home. But, as how do you call it? Most of the freedom fighters, they spend more time trying to save the society and sometimes losing that touch, that family touch. But we understand, you can't get both at the same time. Yeah. But it's a privilege seeing your dad trying to create an impact. Right. And sometimes when you go out and you might not be happy with some of the things, but when you go out and you see how people are motivated, right, how happy the impact is causing in society, it makes you know that he's really doing a good thing, and we are proud of him.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we pray to exceed where he is now.
Absolutely, right. So, General, we are looking on the screen now. Oh, look at General. Look at that.
So we got all these pictures.
Admirable grandpa. Look at
so those are my in-laws, my sons-in-law. Right. The one at the extreme left is Achu, and the wife is my firstborn, Ama Ade Nketia, and then Kwaku is in the middle.
Kwaku is the one in the studio.
Yes. Right. And then you have the extreme right too. You have my other son-in-law with the wife, Afia Nketia. So the other one did not participate in this picture taking, but she is into banking in Canada, and the husband is there. So this is the occasion of the wedding of Yasantua, who is in Canada now.
Your daughter?
My daughter. She comes after Kwaku. Yes.
Wow.
And then the other kids are my grandchildren.
Your grandchildren.
And my wife, that's my wife, Vida Nketia.
Wow.
Whose winter coat I love wearing. And this was at my graduation from the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, where I did my master's in defense and international politics. And that is my younger daughter, is last but one, Afia Nketia. She has also gone back to Canada because of certain, things, political things that were cooking against her. Now, as I speak to you, maybe one day my daughter, the first one, Amma, will come and talk to you about the things she's been going through at her workplace.
Let's arrange it.
I don't want to mention that workplace and the type
let's
of
arrange it. I'd love to speak with Amma. Just give me her number. I love conversation. This is a conversation I'd love to have.
But she's a steel-hearted lady.
Right, just like Daddy.
Proud of her. Yeah.
Jenna, do you know what? The fact that you came here with your son, right, on a Friday evening.
Yes.
I'm looking at him now.
Yes.
The 1,000 things any of us have to do on a Friday evening, or can do, or would be able to do.
Yes.
And he neglects all those things to follow his father to a TV. That tells me all I need to know about you and the kind of father you are.
Yes, thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. You should be extra proud because it's not easy to have this kind of a relationship with a father like that.
Yes.
Right? So beautiful stuff.
Because I'm also very proud of him as my son. She holds a master's in business administration in finance. And very soon he will be starting his PhD. And
wow.
Yes, because instead of wasting the time whilst you are in opposition and where your businesses have been attacked and destroyed, that short period can be used to improve yourself.
Right.
And I believe that, and my daughter too, my firstborn too, is almost at the point of completing her PhD. And so, in spite of all the difficulties they've been going through, they are survivors. So they are also struggling, and I believe that the things I survived, I have every confidence that they will also survive, no matter what happens. The little challenge at times that I have is that I am the chief executive of NDC.
Right.
Everybody expects that my children will also have a contribution to make to support the work of the father. At times when you deploy them in party work, people turn around to say that, he's coming to take my job.
Right. Because the connection is tight. He's connected to the chief executive of the party.
Yes.
That's serious competition.
So even at times when they were deployed, he and two of his cousins, my senior brother whom I follow directly, we lost him, but he had a son. So at the same, almost the same age as Kwaku. And they look very similar. And so he had started more into politics. He's now grown up to be the Ahafo regional organizer.
Oh, wow.
I once deployed them to my constituency to go and salvage the constituency. When I heard that, even as I was engaged throughout the country trying to do something, people were digging in at my heels. And if you lose that constituency, it will not be seen as if the MP there has lost. It will be seen as if Asiedun Katia has lost his constituency. So I deployed all of them to go and assist. Unfortunately, when they left the move was misconstrued. Then MPP people started propagating that, you see, his general secretary is greedy, he's bringing his son to take over. So if you allow them to support the campaign, by the end of the campaigning, they would have established themselves, and in the next election, you'll be replaced. So instead of them being allowed to participate, they were rather frustrated. And that thing has remained in the system. So it's like heads you lose, tails you lose. If you keep them and say that, well, they shouldn't participate in creating the victory, then in future, when there is opportunity, and maybe I would not be as strong as I am now, my children somehow will take over. When they are brought into the picture, monkey they chop and baboon, monkey they work and baboon they chop.
Where are you coming from?
Where are you coming from?
Right.
So it has always been a challenge when my children are deployed anywhere. But if you leave them out, then people will say, you see, many people didn't know that he has been around for the last about 8 years or so in Ghana and has been participating in all these things. Right. They will talk on radio and say that, look, they have sent all their children. Some are even saying that my wife is in Canada and everybody is in Canada, and so on. Right. You understand? Right. So that is always a challenge. Right. So
right. I have 1,000 more questions.
I hope
and my message is, my goodness, General, Facebook but unfortunately I'm looking at the time, and it's KSM's time.
Yes.
So, it's KSM's time. He's interviewing Captain Smarts for the part 2 of their conversation. And General.
Yes.
We have to do this again. Because we are not done. We haven't gone to Bob Marley. We haven't danced.
We haven't danced. We haven't even
your wife.
Finished.
Haven't spoken to your daughter.
I haven't even finished the national issues I came to talk about. Because even after when I was doing the analysis about these smaller parties, we were collaborating at IEA, which was headed by Jean Mensah.
Right.
And she herself set criteria
General,
for participation.
We have to
that excluded a lot of these political parties that she is bringing on board, and she had even had to go to court and all that, and had justified. The commission itself, when they are establishing any subcommittee, they recognize the weight of the political parties, so that if there is a committee to be set up, MPP, where MPP produces one representative, NDC one representative, then all the political parties, smaller parties combined will produce 2 representatives and all that. So these standards are there. So we will have the new commissioner who just comes and say that, oh, every party should bring 1 person to IPAC. The election, the meeting will be broken into phase 1, phase 2. Group A will include MPP, Group B will include NDC, and you are expected to discuss the same issues and build consensus. How is it possible? So we need to fix IPAC and fix the Electoral Commission itself before we can go forward.
And I actually think that we should do this next week Friday. Let's finish our conversation next week Friday. Let's finish.
Well,
you haven't been spoken about
yes.
your work on the service board, parliamentary service board, and that's the
we'll come to that. And my work
next week Friday.
And my work, I don't know yet. I'll confirm later.
Right.
Because we can't travel now.
Right.
We are doing the Zoom meeting for Socialists International.
Right.
Around that time,
I wanted to talk
either
about.
Friday or Saturday.
Right.
So let me go and confirm.
Right.
So that I can then
General, I am so grateful. Thank you for this opportunity. It's not every day we get to sit and talk with General and see pictures of his beautiful wife and get the opportunity to meet his wonderful, family. Thank you. I'm grateful. And General, don't stop. We need a fire. We need an action man back. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And it's not easy, I know, but it's possible. It will be well.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. Don't go anywhere. KSM is up next. Trust me, General will come back. I see you. Let's see. Bye.
Okay.